Hello, everybody, and welcome to TWTTB. A while ago, I teased that I had a special episode planning, and people were actually very interested. So here it is. Um, so just by watching my channel, and if you've met me in person, you know that um, how my beliefs line up in reality. Correct, no matter what anybody would say about it, but I do have these two or maybe three problems with the conservatives. And the first one, it's kind of a big one. Um, it's a dangerous one. Um, I'd even say a deadly one. And it's the very, I guess, in my opinion, of the things that I've read and seen, the openness towards cigars. And there's ads out there saying that like non-woke cigars or something. Companies say like Daily Wire and others are pushing them. Like Michael Knowles has his own brand, I think, with the collab with another company, and it's not good. I mean, you're killing your own voters indirectly or own listeners or whatever. It, I mean, it's dangerous. They're not good for you. They give you lung cancer, and I mean, it's just not a good thing, nor should it be something that we should be, super uptight or upset about. Like it's dangerous. Like we know that they're dangerous. Okay, it's not a secret that they're dangerous, and it's not a secret that they're secretly good for you because that doesn't make sense. Why would they be secretly good for you and no one uses them, right? Like if they were secretly good for you, then people would be using them, right? And even if Michael Knowles is correct that they stimulate the brain or something, there's other things that you can do that stimulate the brain. I mean, there are plenty of bad things that have good, side effects, right? I mean, scrolling TikTok could be said to have stimulating the brain, as in you get lots of dopamine reactions, but it doesn't mean it's good, right? So supporting them, like I say that we should ban them, you can be against that, but outwardly supporting them or selling them, I think is wrong. Like you're promoting something, and it's different than a gun because like you can't use a cigar in a good, safe way. Like there's plenty of ways you can use a gun in a good, safe way. Let's say hunting, self defense, right? But uh, smoking a cigar is not good in any meaningful sense of the way. And some people say, oh, it's good for social social bonding, right? Well, yeah, but there's also other things that people do to social bond that we wouldn't call, good. Like let's say a group of teenagers goes to each other's houses, and sits around for 5 hours scrolling TikTok. I mean, it is a social bond, I guess, but we wouldn't condone or promote that. Or a group of people runs around and like robs people. I mean, that's not a good thing, but it could promote a social bond. Or a group of people go out and drink and get drunk. Again, it's not a good thing, but it does promote a social bond. So there's other things you can do to promote a social bond, like reading a book or watching my videos. That would promote a great social bond, or Bible study or something like that. I just don't think that we should. The hill that we should be dying on is proverbially is cigars, and nor should we be promoting advertising or selling them at all. I mean, it's not good, and you're affecting the younger generation of people who are consuming the content, right? And yeah, one of the people who's been outspoken against this has been Brett Cooper, who would be the younger generation, right? She is very anti-smoking, right? But we have to call her out on this too. Not the smoking thing, but the next thing that we're bringing up. Okay. Um, so Brett Cooper, famously anti-smoking. Hopefully, you can see the image on the screen that we're about to share. Right. So we respect her for that. She knows it's bad for her. Right. Um, she knows that it's not good for you, and she made an entire episode about how smoking's becoming cool again, and she disagreed with these celebrities who were back here. But Brett Cooper is not perfect, and she also has some, in my opinion, bad takes here. And here's the second one, alongside with Matt Walsh, who's made this take, and I think Knowles has also made this take as well. People I respect, of course, about fun, right? Fun and toys, right? So I think Brett Cooper made this episode twice. I think one time it was about toys, and another time it was about um, books. I think I can't seem to find a Brett Cooper video right now. There's a reaction saying that toys are for everyone. But here's one from Matt Walsh. He's saying that the Walsh toys are Matt Walsh toys adults. Oh, here it is. Adults should not be allowed to play with kids' toys. And it's this, and the whole trend of things like this, which is really annoying in my opinion. Here's an ad. Like, finding things that aren't important to civilization to harp and groan and moan about is I mean there's plenty of TikToks out there that you can react to if you need content, okay? And the videos are funny, they're informative, and they're good, right? But saying that people shouldn't play with toys is like there's no biblical basis for this in my opinion. Like, I mean, as long as the toys aren't, like stealing the toys, or you didn't like take them from a kid to go play with them, or they're not like bad toys where you just like, I don't know, shoot people and they promote bad stuff or whatever. Like, as long as it's like, say, a Hot Wheel or a Nerf gun or night vision goggles, which I guess kind of straddles between toy and not, or a kid's board game. Like, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you still have a job. Like, if you're just sitting on TikTok and playing with the toys, then you have nothing, right? But let's just react to this video, and then we'll get into the third thing that I disagree with people on. And yeah, all right, here we go.
Any more reason to be frustrated as you wade through the holiday crowds to buy the cheap plastic toy gifts for your children that you know will all be lost or broken within 3.5 hours of being opened on Christmas morning? But I will give you another reason anyway. So consider that, according to the latest data, a significant portion of the adults in that crowd are buying toys not for children, but for themselves. In fact, if you're not able to find the exact Barbie playset or Batman action figure or whatever that you're looking for, it could be because some adult has already purchased the last one, not for his kid, but for himself.
Oh, okay, sure. So what? Like, it's not a crime. It's not against the law. It's not a sin, right? There's nothing wrong with an adult using their own money to buy a toy. I mean, there's literally a whole bunch of things worse that they could be doing. An adult at home playing with their toys is not a threat to society, in my opinion.
CNBC reports this morning about a new group of consumers that have been dubbed kidults. These emotionally stunted, intellectually shallow, overgrown adolescents. Well,
that's just like a whole bunch of insults that you don't need to put on people that you've never met, that you don't know, who just bought a toy, and you just called them emotionally stunted, overgrown adolescents. You just basically called them dumb, right? You called them a dumb teenager, essentially.
Well into their 30s or 40s, and yet apparently still, I don't know, riding around on big wheels, drinking their juice boxes, maybe destroying society, but they're doing wonders for the toy industry. So that's the...
Again, I don't think it's big wheels that they're buying, just because, they can't fit them. And again, juice boxes, like, they're also more efficient than a regular juice. If you think about it, you get the juice box, you put the straw in, drink it, right? It's a lot more efficient than having to pour a drink into a glass and drink it, right? And it saves having to clean the dish. So it's kind of, smart if you think about it from a philosophical perspective.
Good news. This is from the report. It says there are two things keeping the toy industry afloat right now: inflation and a consumer group known as kidults.
You're just going to read it.
This cohort, which NPD defines as ages 12, spend more on toys, have a great fondness for cartoons, superheroes, and collectibles.
Yeah, so not big wheels. And like a Lego set. Now let's get into this. Cartoons, superheroes, and collectibles. Cartoons, nostalgia, I guess. Collectibles, use them to collect, so I wouldn't really call that a kid's toy. And then Lego sets and dolls. I mean, anyone can play with the Lego sets. I mean, right there on the box, it says from like $8 to $99. So, I mean, Lego knows their market. And then dolls, basically like stuffed animals, but for girls. Nothing wrong with that. Again, so many of the Bible verse that says, "Thou shalt not play with the Barbie unless thou are under 18."
That remind them of their childhood. They buy merchandise such as action figures, Lego sets, and dolls that might typically be considered for kids. However, in recent years, toy makers have created product lines just for these consumers, realizing that demand is high for this generation of adults who still want to have fun. So, as the economy struggles and more adults drop out of the workforce entirely, adults are at the same time spending more money than ever on children's toys.
Of course, there's two statistics can be changed, same thing at the same time, but they don't necessarily mean the same thing. I mean, just a nation of over 200 million people. There's still people who have jobs and disposable incomes and want to spend those on toys
for themselves. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but this is not a sign of a healthy society. Now, granted, if 12 years old is the cutoff, then some of these kidults are actually just kids. And the good news is that if your 12-year-old is still playing with Legos, that's a great sign, actually. He has his innocence still. And Legos are a hell of a lot more wholesome and productive than staring at screens all day, as most 12-year-olds do these days.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I guess you expect adults to stare at screens all day. Now, I'm not saying screens are bad. Like this, I am a tech, channel, and we've gone back and forth on here against tech issues, which will be our third final thing. Whether we go against tech issues, but yeah, okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Unfortunately. So that's fantastic, a 12-year-old playing with Legos. But the fact remains that...
But a 21-year-old cannot? Like, when's the cutoff? So can a 17-year-old play with Legos, but a 19-year-old cannot because they're better or something?
A great number of the people in this demographic are, in fact, actual adults, millennials and Gen Xers who refuse to let go of their childhoods no matter what. The Today Show highlights some more of the people in this group. Let's watch.
I don't want to grow up, find a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys and Toys R Us that I can play with.
Everybody knows the song. It's that classic 80s commercial for Toys R Us. And it turns out a kid can always be a kid.
It's true. There's a growing trend that finds more and more adults buying toys for themselves, the group being called kidults, and it's proving to be a very big business.
And our kid at heart, NBC News Now anchor Joe Fryer is here with more. This is a thing, huh?
Yeah, good morning. I don't want to grow up either. New data is showing that people aged 12 and older, those are kidults, 12 and older, they now make up at least a quarter of toy consumers, and the industry's cashing in.
And let's look at the choices from here. A Lego set. Anyone can do that. Build it, play with it, put it onto a model thing. Hot Wheels. The Hot Wheels do not magically stop becoming fun once you turn 13. You push the button, they fly around the track. I've always wanted one of those things, right? And some people like to buy like replicas of the car that they have or something, or like of an actual car and look at them and say, "Oh wow, look, it's 1/32 scale or whatever." Again, valid. It's not wrong to play with the toy. He hasn't given a reason yet, but maybe he will.
With new products marketed specifically toward millennials, even Gen Xers.
He's a Lego maniac.
Toys of Christmas past are now revisiting many in their adulthood. From adult Happy Meals.
Here are the fries. And then a toy.
Totally hair bar.
I mean, if I was an adult and I went to McDonald's and got a toy in a basket, I'd be happy. Like, you got a free, like, ish, it's added onto the price, I assume. But you got a free-ish toy to play with, or a model or something to use in your lunch meal. Like, people need daily doses of joy in their life, and we shouldn't be taking it away from them because they're above that or better than that, especially since there's no wrong reason for this. I mean, as long as they're a productive member of society, they can play with the toy, I guess.
To Barbie, who's starring in a new movie coming out next summer. Nostalgia is a driving force for a growing consumer group called the Kidults. CNBC reports that data from market research company NPD Group show adults who are young at heart spend about $9 billion.
Answer to here, that's pretty good editing. Like, I wonder what kind of software they use.
Annually.
For the past 2+ years, adults really started to gravitate towards toys and games.
I wonder why. Okay, the past 2+ years. Okay, this is filmed in 2022. 2022 minus 2. Oh, that makes it 2020 when everyone was at home. Okay, you can only watch some Netflix show so many times. What else are they gonna do? Like, that's why they're playing with the toys. And they found out, oh, we like it, so the trend keeps going. Not sinister decline of civilization, whatever.
Not just to spend more time with their families, which they were doing at home, but also for themselves to de-stress.
Aaron Muterick is a former software engineer turned connoisseur of putty. He says grown-ups are stuck on reliving simpler times from their childhood.
I think there is some level of nostalgia. Putty was introduced in the late 1950s to children. We've seen it time and again where adults maybe think it is for children, but then once they touch the putty that their children have, they want one for themselves.
We're giving away free Donald Trump gold bars.
No, you're not. That's mute. That's obviously AI. Free gold? Oh, yeah, of course.
God help us all. I mean, it's gotten to the point where adults who play video games all day are essentially this generation's version of a man reading a leather-bound book in his study while smoking a pipe. I mean, the gamer is mature and refined compared to a 40-year-old man who sits around playing with silly putty all day.
Okay, that's also an extreme, okay? That, like, no one sits around and plays with silly putty all day. And video games, although I don't play them, isn't necessarily wrong. I have to, like, what kind of message is this? Okay, let's say that you become democratically elected theocratic fascist of the United States of America, right? What are you going to do? Outlaw adults? Try to have Congress outlaw adults, anyone over the age of 18 for playing with the toy under fine of $500? On what grounds? It's a free country. Okay, this is hardly the biggest thing facing the nation right now. If I had a map, a list, a blip of things that we could talk about in 2022, late 2022, this wouldn't even be anywhere on the chart, okay? It would be off the chart, like off the bottom of the chart. Because honestly, no one except for you and Brett Cooper and Knowles like really care, okay? And if we were to look down at the comments right now, like as Cooper would read, right? And this is my own comment. Okay, whatever. As an adult, mid-20s, playing with toys is better than having my brain rot away with mental health. I'm so glad the many comments agree with my sentiment. There's nothing wrong collecting and buying things that makes you happy, as long as it doesn't interfere with your adult responsibilities. Life is cruel. When I was a kid, there were all these toys I couldn't buy. Now I have an adult who has money. I still build kits. I'm much healthier than a 12-year-old raised on social media. 49 years old, and I still collect G.I. Joe. Wow, this is one of the rare times I disagree with Matt Walsh. Like, what's wrong with this?
Now, what's the problem here? Well, the situation already feels rather hopeless based on the fact
It's not that hopeless. They're buying a toy. They're not making a nuclear bomb, for goodness sake.
that we even need to explain the problem.
Yes, you do need to explain the problem.
What's the problem with adults sitting around all day playing with toys?
Well, okay, that would be a problem if adults sat around all day and played with toys. But apparently, if they can afford to buy a toy, that means they have a job of some sort, largely speaking.
I mean, It should be self-evident that your society is not in tip-top shape when adults are spending billions of dollars on children's toys that they will play with themselves. Shows not only a catastrophic lack of maturity in the culture, but also a misalignment of priorities, a level of shallow materialism that is certainly unprecedented in the history of the world. I mean, this...
No. Okay, right here on my desk, I have a Nerf Ultra Speed gun, right? It's 7 bullets a second, right? When I turn 18, 19, and I pull the trigger and start shooting, right, whatever, it's still going to be the same fun, same amount of fun as it is now, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with buying and playing with toys. And no one's arguing that it's okay for adults to sit around and play with toys all day. No one's saying that. They're just going out and buying a toy, which stimulates the economy and it makes it, work. Right?
This would all seem to me to be totally self-evident, but if I must...
No, it's not self-evident.
Flesh it out, then I would simply make the following observation. So first, nobody is saying that we should not have fun as adults. There's nothing wrong with fun and recreation. On the contrary.
What kind of fun is he? No toys, right? So apparently this means you have to watch like adult TV shows, because I'm sure this applies to like kid shows. So let's say I, as a 19-year-old, wants to watch Kim Possible. Not according to these rules. Okay, I have to watch, I don't know, his documentary. Video games, I guess that's a no for any of them, which I wouldn't care, but let's say that. Magazines, Adventures in Odyssey, I guess that's out. YouTube videos, like fun YouTube videos, pretty sure that's out. So the only fun that's left is like sports, smoking, going on a boat, like more more expensive things. Like, if you think about it, buying a toy, buying a Nerf gun, say $50, setting up some targets, $100 right there, is a lot less expensive than, actually setting a target for a real gun. You need actual land for that. Or, like, going on a boat ride. Or going to, like, some fancy dance or something. So toys, if you think about it, is cheaper fun than adult fun, whatever that is.
Right. These are important parts of a whole and well-lived life. Yet everything must be done in the right proportion and in a way that is properly ordered. Our trouble is that recreation has become the primary, if not sole, focus of many people's lives. And what's more, their idea of recreation, their idea of fun, has not grown or evolved over time.
So what you're saying here is that if someone doesn't have the same idea as fun as you, they're wrong. Now, there's some kinds of fun, like we just discussed, like say smoking, which I'd say is wrong. Other kinds of fun, like some people say like archery. Some people who don't like archery like swimming, right? Someone who likes archery shouldn't say, you know what, swimming's not that fun. Our society is collapsing if you do this. So, and make a video about it and say it's to be banned or you're canceled or whatever. It's just not right.
They have grown physically, but their tastes have not. This is one of the most...
As long as they have a job, able to feed themselves, and if they have a family, their family. I don't care if they're playing with Paw Patrol figures, okay? I like the show. I don't care if they're playing with Paw Patrol figures. It's not a crime, okay? There's totally worse things that they could be doing.
Glaring signs of emotional immaturity. And the thing about emotionally immature people is that if you ever talk about the problem of immaturity, they will laugh at you, which is exactly how you would expect an immature person to respond.
Or maybe,
of course, if we lived in a culture that was filled with mature, interesting, competent adults with useful skills, adults capable of having intelligent conversations, able to grasp and to express nuanced ideas, adults who eagerly accept the duties and responsibilities of adulthood, etc. If that was the case, and still many of these adults also happen to be obsessed with superheroes and cartoons and action figures, then we might just chalk it up to a weird sort of quirk or eccentricity in our culture and not really worry much about it beyond that. But that is not the sort of culture that we find ourselves in. Instead, we are surrounded by immature idiots.
I know. He's gonna like criticize me for this because he says that you aren't supposed to you can instance for resistance, but you're not. So it should be the kind of culture in which we find ourselves. Honestly, okay. Just right next. Oh.
Who have the skill sets, reasoning skills, and ambitions and motivations of children.
Mm-hmm.
And they also happen to have the hobbies and recreations of children. And so we can conclude, I think logically, that all of these things are probably related, that the billions spent on the toys, the obsession with nostalgia, is both a symptom and a driver of the overall problem. And the overall problem is that the real business of adulthood is being delayed and sometimes shirked entirely. This is most obvious when we see the numbers of people refusing to start families and have kids of their own. I mean,
well, okay, not necessarily. Maybe it's just people who don't want to start families and have kids, which isn't, like a law or something that you have to do to become, an adult. Second of all, if let's say this is a problem, which it could be, he is an adult, so he probably sees more of it than I would see. Though,
it's no surprise.
Kind of crazy. So if they grow up into the same people that they are now, then I could see how that could happen. Then it seems that this would be more of a symptom, and calling it out wouldn't be the right thing. What we should do is say people should grow up more, but we shouldn't say that they can't play with toys. Just say that get a job, right? If they're able to get a job and have more nuanced conversations, that would be good. This seems like you're trying to treat the symptom instead of the alleged disease, which then it's going to spring up somewhere else. Maybe it won't be toys. Maybe it'll be like cartoon TV shows. Maybe it's not that. Then maybe it will be, I don't know, the language of their youth. So like terms from the 80s and 90s or catchphrases from television shows of the 80s and 90s, right? So it doesn't seem like this solution of saying adults shouldn't play with toys is fixing anything. And lastly, it seems that the most, let's say the quarter of 18%, because if they're counting adults between 12 to 18, so that might be taking up some percentage. So let's say 18%. If they're able to afford the toys and have a disposable income, then that means they probably, most likely, 90% of them have a job and are thus being productive members of society. Therefore, this seems like a symptom that only the people that would probably be aligned with you the most, as you saw in the comments, would be aligned with you, most. Who would probably be on your side the most because they have disposable income and are actually providing for their families. So that's why I think that this is another issue that I have with them. And I promise you a third issue. And here it is. I would say it's the anti-tech stance of. So Saturday, I recorded a video about how debunking basically this AI controversy, which really wasn't a controversy. It wasn't a problem. From Sports Illustrated, right? Now that was a problem, right? But his take on it was that AI is replacing jobs, and the people should come up and legislate a solution for it. And I was thinking, like, what are you going to do? Ban AI? You can't ban, progress, and that's a problem here. Okay, like we'll get to Michael Knowles in AI. Right, we talked about Matt Walsh in AI, so you can check it out on my tech channel, the Chuck Boy Tech News and Reviews, and see my whole take on that. But let's get to Brett Cooper here, and then another Matt Walsh, and then we'll talk about Michael Knowles. Okay, so here's Brett Cooper, since he's reacting to the Amazon palm scanning technology.
I'm at Whole Foods and I'm about to pay for my groceries with my.
Okay, you can be weirded out by that. Whatever, fine. But the comments like these She got her one-way ticket to hell. I feel sorry for her. Okay. This is probably meant in good faith by a Christian, but if what they're saying is this is the mark of the beast, that doesn't make any sense at all. Because if the mark of the beast, which would happen after Jesus comes, so the Christians will all be gone. So let's assume that this lady's not a Christian, which we probably wouldn't want to assume. But let's just say, for argument's sake, the rapture's already happened, and she's here. How could that be the mark of the beast? Like, think about it from a logical point of view. You have to receive it, right? So, are you saying that will be hands? Well, not me, but people would be walking around without a hand, and the mark of the beast would be you get your hand back? That just doesn't seem feasible to me. That's what I'm saying. Like hand scanning technology, that no, is not the mark of the beast, and it's this anti-tech stance that it's kind of annoying. Um, and then here's another thing. Uh, Second, third most popular short from the channel. Oh wow! Oh, here it is. From the Dex days. Here we go. If it will load.
With the nerd goggles, Apple can see everything you see. It can literally track every movement you make. It can track where your eyes.
Oh, not this one. It's the fourth most popular video. Sorry, of from him. I meant to add. It's gonna, isolate families eating food and keep them away from the screens, and used to be out in the woods playing something. Right? Look. I respect him. I like the content. Reacted to his colleague with the Gingy Tones video. It's really good. I like it. It's gonna yeah. Well, effectively in late following clips, he says that Apple is trying to augment your reality to say make it better, and it's just like you don't know anything about tech. That's not what augmented reality means. You shouldn't be like really commenting like on stuff like that if you're not gonna like make sense. And last, we got to get to Michael Knowles in the AI stuff. Like his take is that AI is essentially demonic. That makes no sense. How could AI be demonic? Please tell me. It's a computer program. Okay, it's basically like a search engine, essentially. Just takes data and it and just gives it to you, summarizes you in human-like form. Like his takes on AI just kind of frustrate me. Like AI is not, say, demonic. Now, can it be programmed in an evil, in bad way? Yes, but is it demonic? No, and you probably shouldn't be making takes like that. And I'm fan to these people, but this is just kind of outrageously crazy. AI is not demonic. There's no evidence to suggest that AI would be demonic, in my opinion. God bless, and tech talk to you later.